Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being here. If you could individually introduce yourselves and tell us what part of your career you are in.
Okay, I'm Taylor. I'm a second-year apprentice.
My name is Janelle. I am a first-year journeyman.
My name is Michelle, and I'm a first-year apprentice.
So tell me a little bit about how each of you got into this trade.
I have family in the business, and I didn't like the prior industry that I was in before this, so I was recommended this particular trade, which I like welding, so it worked out for me.
What were you doing beforehand?
I was a heavy equipment operator.
Okay, and what was that? What didn't you like about that industry?
Honestly, I just got tired of doing it. My grandpa had his own business, so I'd been doing it for about 10 years before I got into this. And it was very mundane. It didn't interest me at all, really. And it was just kind of boring.
What do you find interesting? What do you find interesting about this trade?
This particular trade, you're not doing the same thing every day, which is nice. So you could be welding, you could be fitting, you could be rigging, you can do all kinds of stuff.
I originally got into this trade because prior to this, I worked at a fabrication shop, so welding was my main priority at the time, and then I decided to go union, and the logo for our union is a welder, so I was like, oh, that seems like me. And that led into pipe fitting, which I've never done. That was a complete new adventure, and then that's just how it led into things. I joined the local, I started as a pipe fitter, and why I like this industry, it's because just like Taylor, it's different. You never know what you're gonna encounter in each job site. Each job is different. You can be rigging and installing 14-inch pipe, or you can simply just be doing copper. You know, it's different.
So when I got out of high school, my mom had to get 2 neck surgeries, and me and my brother, we were both going to join the military together, but I stayed back to take care of her because there's just 3 of us. And during that time, my brother kind of persuaded me not to join, and when my mom was healing, she had a friend Phil, and we'd go to his house, and he's in the millwright union, and I just asked him to show me just welding. So then he did that, and then I liked it. So then I went to trade school in Florida, to Tulsa Welding School. And throughout that process, we did just flat welding and everything. And then we got the pipe, and I just really liked the pipe and the challenge of it. So then I went pipe fitters because they mostly do pipe. And then so far it's been, I've done a lot of stuff that I never even thought would be considered as a pipe fitter's job.
Like what?
Just even today, just tagging stuff, or just the little stuff that make everything come together.
Tell me a little bit about if you find the environment supportive. Do you find the environment, to be one that's, that's welcoming, or have you, run into situations, in the past where you felt like you weren't welcome?
I've always felt welcome in this industry. I've never been on a job site where I was uncomfortable with the people or with whatever I was doing. For the most part, everyone in our union, they're super supportive guys. They'll help you out with whatever you need. You can always go to them and ask them whatever kind of question you want. And they never make you feel like you're less than them. Does that make sense?
I feel like it varies on job sites. You never know what bunch of crew you're gonna get. Luckily, for the past couple of job sites I've had, the crew has been amazing. The guys are extremely helpful in the beginning, so they're not aware of your capabilities, but as time passes and you show them more and more of what you can do, they kind of fall back. I appreciate the help though, and I appreciate them wanting to show you things and get you involved. I've never, so far with these past couple of jobs, I've never felt excluded. But then you come across job sites where you come across guys who just don't want anything to do with you. They don't want to show you anything. They're like, you got to prove yourself. And you do, you step up to the plate and show them what you can do. At the end of the day, if they still don't like you, then that's their problem. You're gonna come across that variation every so often. It's how you handle yourself, and just don't let it get to you. But then, right now, currently, the crew, you come across guys that are phenomenal. Always wanting to help you, always wanting to be there and show you things. Great. So I've seen both sides, and again, it depends on how you take it, how you handle it, just at the end of the day, don't take it personal. They are who they are, and you can't help that.
I'd have to say so far, everybody that I've met has been super supportive, and they're even encouraged, and they're Like if I was a girl, they didn't even know if they could be able to do this. Especially like I know myself, I didn't know anybody coming in here. So like I got to my first job site and people would ask like, how did you like who got you in? I'd be like, got here myself. And like I was scared because like I was going to this job site with all these guys and I had no clue who anybody was or like how anything worked or even if I was in the right spot. But so far everybody's been really great and pointing me in the right directions or just telling me things to help me in the future. Like I might not need this information right now, but they're giving it to me so that when I do get where I'm gonna be, I have that.
What have you come across in your career so far with your personal protective equipment that you feel as though is not up to par?
Definitely the vest. Even if you can find a small vest, they're always way too loose and you get them caught and stuff. The harnesses, if you can find a newer harness, they're usually pretty accommodating to smaller frames, but most job sites it's like an extra large, meant to fit big burly men, and they don't stay up, they're super uncomfortable, and honestly, like, I'm not going super high up in the air, but if I was, I wouldn't feel comfortable in them. Gloves, usually with Binsky especially, they always order gloves that would fit you, so that's not a big problem.
Again, they don't think about, I'm going to have someone who's going to wear a small. Majority of the people who come onto the job site, you need 4X, 3X, So I feel that, yeah, we're not a thought in mind. And then when it happens, it's like, oh, luckily, again, with Binsky, they'll order it for you. Just ask them, like, this doesn't fit right. And with Gallagher also, he's just been very helpful with that. At the Dream, when they had special harnesses that came on, he made sure and got me the small one and tested to make sure it fit me. The first week I was there, and with a regular harness, he ordered the right size for me. My gloves were provided. The vest, you can't really do much. I mean, the smallest I had was like a large. It's just loose. You just deal with it, and getting caught on things is a nuisance, but that's all right.
Like with Binsky, if you have a supervisor that's like willing to go out of their way, like at my last job when I was in Jersey City, I got there and he already had like a pair of small gloves already ordered for me and just gave me the whole pack. That way I have them for wherever I end up next.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you're supported through Binsky, through the organization?
Basically, whatever you need, like they said, if you need different harnesses, different gloves, different vests, whatever, they will provide you with the best that they can. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's because they're designed for men, so they're going to be bigger.
He also provides a safe place with anything. If you need to speak to him about anything that's happening, he will give you the attention that you require. There's been times where I need to speak to him, and he's always just like ready, just for like the worst, and I'm like, no, this is about the job, don't worry, nothing's happened, but just knowing that's his reaction, he'll be ready for whatever is going to happen. It makes me feel more comfortable because if something does happen, which I hope doesn't, I know that I can confidently go to him and express, like, this is what's going on, this is what's making me feel uncomfortable. How do we handle this? So he's given me that comfortability, and that I appreciate the most.
Do you feel underrepresented as a female in the industry across the board? Or do you feel like construction is behind the times?
I feel like it all depends on the job and who's on the job because you'll meet some older people and that have been like in the construction for a while and they're like, this is no place for women, like women shouldn't be here. But then like you'll get like with a lot of the younger guys, they're like, yeah, go women. So it all depends on who you're with, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and as long as you show up and you don't let them think that just because you're a woman you're less, you just prove yourself that you belong, then usually they can put it behind themselves and hopefully change their mind a little bit.
I think that they're behind in times. Overall, just construction with the maternity leave and finding out what to do with younger females who are getting in and again wanting to start a family. That I feel is very important to start working on and figuring out what's going to happen, because then you're going to end up at a point where you have all of these females that are starting this family and then everyone's like, I don't know what to do. They're going to miss out on money. They're going to miss out on time. They're not going to have their benefits. It's a big problem because one of the benefits, what's going to happen, How are you going to pay these hospital bills? That is a big issue for me. I feel that we're behind on the times. But other than that, I see that there's a slow movement of getting there, and I'm very happy to see that.
Let's say a young female comes through those doors or through the doors at the apprentice hall, and now that you have some time in, what advice do you have for that young woman?
To always believe in yourself, and even if somebody looks down on you, don't let it change your mindset on yourself. Like, you went in there and you're giving it all that you have. Don't ever let anybody else make you feel like you're less just because you're a woman. I feel like that's so stupid. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Just because she's a woman, she's less what? Like, she could be 10 times smarter than you or working just as hard as you. Like, I don't know, I just don't get the whole thing just because she's a woman, she can't do it.
Some of the advice I would give her is, one, don't be afraid of the guys. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't feel that you have to try to be like them. Just be yourself, and that will get you so much farther than you would even realize. And thirdly, become friends with the other girls in the hall. We're not your enemies. We're together. That is very important. I feel that some females feel threatened or they feel like a competition between each other. Don't. It's be friends with each other. It's just going to benefit you overall.
I would say don't be intimidated. You have every right to be there as much as the men. And each person you work with is going to give you a little bit of advice. Take that with a grain of salt, but always listen to what they're trying to tell you. It will benefit you eventually, maybe not right away, but down the line it will.
Thank you very much for your time today.